18 days. 9 American soldiers dead. No witnesses.
Along Copper Ridge, the desert had become a killing field. They called them Coyote Glass 4 precision killers working for the cartel, firing from shadows, disappearing like ghosts. Every attempt to stop them ended the same way: silence. And another folded flag.
Then she arrived. Senior Petty Officer Lauren Whitaker. 1 woman, 1 rifle, 14 minutes.
4 enemy snipers who thought they were unstoppable, all dead before they even saw her. Before we begin, tell us where are you watching from, and if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive.
18 days, 9 American soldiers dead. No witnesses. Along the jagged border known as Copper Ridge, the desert had turned into a killing field. No one saw the shooters. No drones picked up their heat. Every sunrise brought one more body pulled from the canyon road. They called them Coyote Glass, a team of precision killers working for a cartel that guarded the mountain passes like ghosts. They fired once, disappeared, and left nothing but dust. Every attempt to flush them out ended the same way, with silence and another folded flag. By the time the Navy's Sierra 9 unit arrived, the valley was half abandoned. Convoys drove with headlights off. Patrols refused to stop. If you lingered longer than 10 seconds in the open, you didn't come back. Inside a canvas command tent, Lieutenant Cole Ramsey traced a finger across the map lit by a single red bulb. 18 days, 9 kills, no pattern, he said flatly. Across from him sat the team chief Caleb Price, communications tech Foster, and at the far end, Senior Petty Officer Lauren Whitaker. Her rifle case leaned against her chair, dust-scarred from years of fieldwork. She hadn't spoken once since landing. When Ramsey finally looked at her, the air in the room tightened. "You've studied their shots," he said. "Anything you see that we don't?" Lauren studied the map for a long moment. "They're not random," she said. "All 9 hits came from west-facing slopes between 10:30 and 2:30. Morning light. Their targets were in full sun while they fired from shadow." Price frowned. "That's textbook, but consistent. It's more than that," Lauren continued. "These 3 ridges here, and here they form a rough triangle. Each gives coverage of the valley roads below. If they rotate positions, they can kill anyone who moves through the choke point." Ramsey leaned forward. "So they're not reacting to us. They're waiting for us." Lauren nodded once. "They've learned our schedule. We're fighting their terrain," Foster muttered. "Then how the hell do we fight back?" "We changed the terrain," she said. The room went silent. Even the generator hum outside seemed to fade. Lauren pointed to the valley floor marked with red circles. "We give them a target they can't resist. A patrol that looks careless but isn't." Ramsey's eyes narrowed. "You're talking bait." "Yes. A 6-man decoy patrol from Border Task Force. They'll move through the canyon at sunrise. The moment the enemy fires, we'll already be watching from the southern ridge. And you'll take the shot," he said. Lauren's tone stayed level. "Before they can relocate." Price glanced at her. 4 rifles, 2 of us. Wide terrain, how sure are you?" She met his eyes without blinking. Sure enough not to let a 5th man die. Ramsey exhaled, half a sigh, half surrender. "You've got until dawn. Pick your ridge." Lauren rose, collected her rifle case, and walked out without another word. Outside, the desert wind howled through the wire fence. The camp lights flickered in the dust storm rolling off the horizon. She sat alone on a steel ammo crate, opening the rifle case in the half-dark. Inside lay her AXMC .338 Lapua clean, oiled, steady as heartbeat. She checked the bolt, the scope, every adjustment dial. Each click sounded like a metronome marking the hours left before sunrise. Beside her gear sat an old photo, a young radar technician in uniform, smiling, sunburned, his name tape half torn. He'd been killed 2 weeks earlier in this same canyon, shot through the vest while fixing a sensor tower. She had told him to stay behind the truck. She hadn't forgotten the look he gave her before obeying. It was the kind of memory that doesn't fade. It just grows quieter until something makes it roar again. Price found her before 0300 carrying a pack and 2 canteens. "They approved it?" he asked. "They didn't have a better plan."
she replied. Ramsey's voice came over the radio. Convoy rolling out at 0340. You move in 30? Lauren snapped the rifle case shut. Let's go. They moved out under a moonless sky. No headlights, no chatter, just boots and breath and the scrape of gravel under weight. Each step was deliberate, slow, measured. The ridges loomed ahead like black walls cutting through the stars. Below, the canyon slept an empty wound carved by centuries of wind. To most, it was just desert. To Lauren, it was a chessboard. She climbed until the ground leveled under her knees. Price scanned through his scope. Whispering ranges West Ridge, 1,000. North Ridge, 1,200. Wind barely 2 clicks east. Lauren positioned the rifle, pressed the bipod into the earth, and adjusted the scope until the glass turned clear. She spoke softly, almost to herself. They've been hunting men who never saw them coming. Then she pulled the bolt back, chambered the first round, and settled behind the sight. By dawn, the hunter was already waiting. Dawn broke gray and cold. Mist drifted through the ravines like breath from the earth. Lauren lay prone on the southern ridge, cheek pressed to the stock, the world framed inside her scope. Beside her, Price whispered ranges without looking up. West Ridge, 1,040. North Ridge, 1,250. Wind east, 2.5. Lauren adjusted the dial, eyes steady. Copy. Below. 6 Border Task Force men moved through the canyon floor in tight formation. They looked exposed, too exposed. That was the point. Let them fire first, Lauren said quietly. Always, Price murmured back. Makes them feel in control. The waiting stretched, heavy as the fog itself. Then, crack. A single rifle shot tore through the morning stillness. One of the patrolmen stumbled backward, armor catching the round with a violent clang. Contact West Ridge, Price hissed. Rock outcrop, 1,040 meters. Near that dead mesquite. Lauren's crosshairs shifted, her breath slowing until the world stopped moving. Dust still hung in the air where the shot came from. Wind, right? 6, Price called. She squeezed. The rifle kicked once, soft and sure. Through the glass, she saw a puff of gray dust, then the shape of a body slumping sideways. Hit, Price confirmed. First target down. Lauren already reloaded. Scanning left. A second glint flashed across the ridge, barely visible. Metal catching light through the haze. Another one, Price whispered. 980 meters. Lower shelf. Lauren swung the rifle a fraction. Sight steady. The second shot broke. Echo chased echo through the canyon. Another silhouette dropped behind stone. 2 down. The patrol below dove for cover. One man shouting into his radio, voice shaking. Ramsey's reply came sharp through Lauren's earpiece. Keep formation. Stay bait. She wiped the condensation from her scope. The air shimmered. The heat was rising faster than expected. That meant mirage false images, ghost heat, harder shots. Price scanned with the spotting scope. Third contact North Ridge, 1,260 meters. Movement between brush lines. Lauren found him a faint outline crawling backward, shifting position to escape her sight. He's retreating, Price warned. Not fast enough. She tracked him with her reticle, leading half a shoulder ahead, timing the drag of his crawl. Exhale. Trigger. Impact. The third target jolted, arms going limp, rifle sliding away into the weeds. 3 confirmed, she whispered. Price lowered his scope. 7 minutes flat. The radio crackled, Ramsey's voice, tense but calm. 3 confirmed hits, still 1 unaccounted. Lauren's eyes kept moving across the ridges. Every shadow looked like a rifle barrel waiting to breathe. No sign, only wind, and the faint moan of the canyon. For the first time that morning, even the birds went silent. Price frowned. We're missing him. Intel said 4. He's patient. Lauren didn't blink. Or he's watching us. A gust of wind shifted her camouflage veil. She froze instantly. Something metallic flashed through her scope too close. Wrong direction. She shifted the rifle and realized the shimmer wasn't across the valley. It was behind them. Movement east, Price said suddenly, voice tight. 400 meters, same elevation. Ramsey's voice came through the radio a split second later. Sniper on your ridge. Repeat, he's on your ridge. Lauren's stomach tightened. "He's not watching the patrol," Price said. "No," she breathed, swinging the rifle around. "He's watching us." Her pulse hit like a drumbeat in her ears. Through the scope, she caught a glimpse of muzzle flare between the brush. The fourth shooter close, precise, and already aimed their way. A bullet screamed past, cutting a hole through the fabric near her shoulder. "Down!" Price shouted, dropping flat. Gravel scattered as another shot shattered the stone above them. Lauren rolled behind a rock shelf, pressing against the earth as dust rained over her helmet. "He's repositioning," Price said, breath rough. "He's too close for comfort." Lauren replied. She pulled the bolt, chambered another round, and crawled to a new angle. The hunter had become the hunted. At this range, it wouldn't be about distance or math. It would be whoever fired second. She found his outline again, half hidden by thorn brush, barrel glinting in the light. "Range 410, Price whispered. "No wind. Same elevation?" Lauren steadied her breathing, heart slowing against the stock. Her finger tightened. The fourth sniper shifted, aligning on their position too late. The rifle cracked once, echo rolling like thunder. The body jerked, then dropped from view. Price exhaled, shoulders trembling. 4 confirmed. Lauren didn't speak. She watched through her scope until the brush went still. The valley below was silent again. 14 minutes from the first shot. Every ridge was quiet, too quiet. Price looked over at her, still stunned. "You realize what you just did?" Right, Lauren's eyes stayed on the canyon. "No," she said softly. "I just finished what they started. And somewhere below." The mist began to clear, revealing the battlefield that no one else could see. The shot missed her by inches. A sharp hiss split the air as the bullet tore a chunk of stone from the ridge beside her face. Pebbles sliced her cheek, warm blood mixing with desert dust. Lauren flattened herself behind cover, heartbeat slamming against her ribs. "He's got us pinned," Price whispered, pressing low, scanning the brush. 400 meters. Same ridge. He's trained. Another shot cracked closer this time. The round ricocheted off the rocks, spraying fragments across her sleeve. Price gritted his teeth. "He's walking us in." Lauren kept her voice steady. "He's trying to bait movement. Don't give it to him." She reached up, adjusted her optic half an inch, the glass trembling under her fingers. The heat shimmer blurred everything beyond 50 yards, perfect for a man like him. "Command says hold position," Price said, voice low but tight. "Negative," Lauren replied. "We wait. He flanks." She slid backward, belly scraping over rock, searching for a new angle. Every sound mattered: the scrape of metal, the grind of gravel, her own shallow breath. She could feel the sniper watching, waiting for one mistake to mark her location. 2 hunters sharing the same ridge, separated only by patience. She whispered, "He's not reacting to us. He's predicting." Price frowned. "Then how do we beat him by thinking like him?" Lauren eased the rifle forward, eye behind the scope again. Through the glass, just the shimmer of heat, the ripple of air. Then she saw it, a faint shift, a ripple that didn't belong to the wind. There, she breathed. Price followed her direction through his spotter. Brush line near the shale outcrop left of it. He's masking his barrel behind the shadow of the rock. She adjusted the elevation, accounting for the slope and angle of sunlight. At this distance, one wrong click meant death. Her finger rested on the trigger. Then muzzle flash. The 4th sniper fired first. The sonic crack snapped past her ear, deafening, burning the air. Lauren didn't flinch. She exhaled, squeezed. Her rifle roared, the recoil biting her shoulder. Through the scope, the target jerked, then fell sideways into the dust. Price lifted his head an inch, stunned. Hit Lauren stayed silent, still tracking the brush. "Wait for it." The man moved again, dragging his weapon with one arm, bleeding, desperate, still trying to line up a final shot. Lauren cycled the bolt, fired once more. The second impact folded him instantly, then silence. Only the wind moved through the canyon. Price let out a shaky laugh. "He's down." 4 confirmed. Lauren lowered her rifle. "Mark his position. I want every sight line he had." She stood, stretching her shoulders, muscles trembling from the tension. Ramsey's voice crackled through the radio. "Bravo, confirm status. 4 targets neutralized," she answered. "Valley is clear." "Outstanding," Ramsey replied. "Hold for verification. Below." The decoy patrol regrouped, hauling their wounded man back toward the extraction point. The body armor that saved him was dented but intact. He gave a weak thumbs up toward the ridge before disappearing into the haze. Lauren reloaded slowly, letting her pulse settle. 14 minutes total, start to finish. 4 professionals who had ruled this valley for weeks gone. The quick reaction team arrived within the hour. They moved like ghosts through the terrain, collecting rifles, tagging coordinates. Lauren and Price watched as each position was documented. 3 of the enemy were foreign mercenaries with clean equipment, European optics, perfect discipline. The last, the one who almost killed her, wore local camo. His badge patch was torn, but she recognized the pattern of former army instructor. She crouched beside his rifle, fingers brushing the barrel. No scratches, no sand, no rust. This man had cleaned it the night before, confident he'd live to use it again. Price stopped beside her. He knew what he was doing. So did I, Lauren said quietly. He just ran out of time first. She closed the bolt on her rifle and slung it over her shoulder. The wind rose again, carrying the smell of gunpowder and heat. From above, the canyon looked calm, washed in sunlight. No one would ever know how close the line between life and death had been. Ramsey approached as the last team finished the sweep. He gave her a long look, half pride, half disbelief. 4 in 14 minutes. Command's going to love that headline. Lauren adjusted her sling. It wasn't a headline. It was a job. He smiled faintly. Still hell of a job. She didn't answer, just watched the ridgeline where smoke still drifted from broken stone. Somewhere in that silence, the ghosts of Copper Ridge finally stopped breathing. But Lauren didn't feel relief, only quiet calculation. Every sniper she'd ever faced taught her something new, and this one had been studying her too. As the sun climbed higher, the team packed up. Dust swallowed their tracks. To anyone flying overhead, the canyon looked peaceful again, like nothing had ever happened. But those who walked it that morning knew better. It was no longer the blind zone. It was the place where the hunters learned fear. The chopper came in low, blades whipping dust across the ridge. Lauren shielded her eyes as the rescue team disembarked, their boots sinking into the loose gravel. The sound of the rotors felt too loud for a place that had just gone silent. 4 bodies. Confirmed. Price shouted over the wind. Medics and technicians moved methodically, tagging weapons, photographing coordinates. What had been a battlefield minutes ago now looked like a research site. Lauren stepped back, watching the men haul equipment toward the helicopter. The bodies were zipped in black bags, their weapons laid neatly beside them. She noticed how careful the soldiers were, almost respectful, as if they knew the kind of skill they'd just buried. Captain Briggs climbed out from the second chopper, clipboard in hand, wind tugging at his jacket. "Hell of a mess," he said, scanning the ridge. "Intel's already calling this a miracle." Lauren wiped dust from her cheek. "No miracles." "Captain, just math." Briggs cracked a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "You and your math saved 6 lives down there. Command's impressed. I'll celebrate when it stays quiet for a month," she said. He nodded. "It won't." They walked together to the far edge of the ridge, where the last sniper had fallen. Briggs knelt beside the rifle, examining the engraving on the receiver. "Foreign manufacture. Serial's been filed down. Professional job," Lauren said. "They weren't freelancers." Briggs reached into his pocket, pulling out a small radio wrapped in plastic. "Found this on the last one. Battery still warm." He turned the knob slightly, and a faint voice bled through, crackling. Distorted, calm. "Alpha 4. Report, Alpha 4. Confirm position." The frequency repeated, each word identical, automated, waiting for a reply that would never come. Lauren stared at the radio for a long time. "That's command chatter," she said softly. Someone hires watching their feed. Briggs looked up at her. You think this is part of something bigger? She met his eyes. It's not over. The words carried no drama, just certainty. Behind them, the sun was climbing, burning through the last of the mist. By noon, the site was stripped clean, nothing left but scorched footprints and brass casings. Lauren and Price sat near the supply truck, rehydration packs hanging loosely from their hands. Neither spoke for several minutes. Price finally broke the silence. 14 minutes. You realize that's going to be legend. Right. Lauren shook her head. Legends get people killed. I'd rather they forget my name. He smiled faintly. Yeah. That sounds like you. Ramsey called them back to base at 1300. The convoy moved slowly across the desert, engines growling over the flat emptiness. From the back seat, Lauren watched Copper Ridge fade behind them, its scars already vanishing beneath the shifting light. Back at camp, the debrief lasted 2 hours. No applause, no congratulations, just numbers, angles, and questions about bullet drop and wind compensation. She answered each one, steady and exact. When it ended, Briggs lingered by the door, holding a sealed folder. Whitaker, he said quietly. You might want to see this. Inside was a single photo satellite imagery, taken the same morning. Far beyond Copper Ridge, another cluster of heat signatures had appeared. 14 men, moving in formation, eastbound. Below the photo, a single note, Phase 2, initiate contact when ready. Lauren felt the weight of the words settle in her chest. Whoever sent the first 4 wasn't finished. Briggs studied her face. Command wants Sierra 9 to stand by. Joint Ops might take over. Lauren closed the folder. If they do, tell them to bring twice the ammo. He smirked. Still can't sit still. Can you not when someone's still waiting for Alpha 4 to answer? That night, the camp lights burned low against the horizon. Most of the unit slept, the hum of generators the only sound. Lauren sat outside her tent, rifle beside her knee, the desert stretching endless and quiet. A thin wind moved through the canvas, carrying the faint echo of radio static. For a moment, she thought she heard it again. Alpha 4. Confirm position. She reached out and turned the knob. But the channel was dead. The stars above looked unnervingly close, bright enough to paint her hands in silver. She traced the scars on her knuckles, the skin rough from years of recoil and dust. In the distance, lightning flickered without thunder, a storm forming far beyond the ridge. Lauren took one last look at the silent horizon. Peace, she thought, was a rumor in places like this. It never lasted long. She stood, slung the rifle across her back, and stepped into the darkness. Behind her, the wind rose again, whispering through the canyon. It sounded almost like a voice still waiting, still calling, from somewhere far away. And somewhere in that endless static, a transmission crackled to life for just one breath. Alpha 4. Standing by. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.